Hey everyone! Welcome back to Smart Reviews. If you're watching this right now, there's a good chance you've either just felt that notification buzz on your Galaxy device, or you've been refreshing your software update screen like it holds the answer to a question you haven't even fully articulated yet. Either way, the moment is finally here. One UI 8.5, based on Android 16, is no longer a rumor, a beta build, or a leaked screenshot. It is live, it is rolling out, and for the past 7 days, I've been living with it. Not just testing it, but actually living my life through it, using it for work, for creativity, for family moments, for quiet mornings and chaotic afternoons. This isn't a first look hype video. This is a grounded, detailed, and hopefully helpful account of what you're actually getting when you hit that download and install button, and what it actually feels like to use this update in the real world, not in a lab, not in a press demo, but in the messy, beautiful, unpredictable rhythm of actual human life. It started, as these things often do, with anticipation. I'd been following the beta reports, the developer notes, the early hands-on impressions. I knew what was supposed to be new: the redesigned quick settings, the dynamic weather animations, the smarter battery management, the contextual, now nudge suggestions. But knowing about a feature and living with it are two entirely different experiences. So when the stable build finally arrived for my Galaxy S25 Ultra, a crisp 5.2 GB download that took just under 20 minutes to install, I approached it not as a reviewer, but as a user. I backed up my data, ensured my battery was at 87%, connected to my home Wi-Fi, and tapped install. The progress bar crawled forward, the phone rebooted twice, and then, there it was, the lock screen. My wallpaper, a photo of my dog asleep in a sunbeam, looked exactly the same, but the clock widget, it had shifted. Just slightly. It was no longer centered over his face. It had moved organically to frame him instead of covering him. I blinked. I hadn't changed any settings. I hadn't enabled any new toggles. The system had just understood. That was the first whisper. The first hint that something fundamental had shifted beneath the surface. Lucklinking the phone felt faster. Not because the fingerprint sensor was quicker, though it was, noticeably so, with a new adaptive recognition engine that seemed to learn the angle of my thumb more intuitively, but because the animation that followed felt lighter. The home screen didn't just appear. It unfolded with a subtle sense of momentum that matched the flick of my finger. Apps opened with a fluid expansion that felt less like a digital transition and more like a natural response. I opened Messages, then Chrome, then my camera, switching between them in rapid succession. There was no stutter, no micro hitch, no feeling that the phone was catching up to me. It was just there, ready, responsive. I realized then that the animation overhaul wasn't just about aesthetics. It was about respect. Respect for my time, my attention, my expectation that technology should keep pace with thought, not lag behind it. The quick settings panel was where the change became tangible. I swiped down from the top, and instead of the familiar rigid grid, I was greeted by a layout that felt alive. My most used toggles, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, flashlight, were larger, more prominent. The ones I rarely touched were smaller, tucked neatly away. And the brightness slider, it was vertical. I dragged my thumb up and down, and the screen responded instantly, smoothly, without the awkward horizontal stretch that always felt like a minor ergonomic betrayal on such a large device. I long pressed the mobile data tile, resized it, moved it next to Wi-Fi. I hid the NFC toggle I never use. In under a minute, I had reshaped my control panel to match my actual life, not Samsung's default assumptions. It was a small act of customization, but it felt profoundly empowering. This wasn't a static interface I had to adapt to. It was a flexible tool I could adapt for myself. And if you want to push customization even further, the integration with GoodLock remains unparalleled. Modules like QuickStar and Theme Park allow you to completely reshape the notification shade, apply dynamic color palettes, adjust icon grids, and fine-tune animation curves without rooting your device or relying on third-party apps that break with every update. And if you ever mess up, one tap resets everything to stock. It's the deepest level of personalization in Android, delivered natively, safely, and elegantly. Then came the lock screen weather animation. I live in Seattle, so rain is a frequent companion. That morning, as I checked my phone after waking, I saw gentle, realistic droplets interacting with my wallpaper. They didn't just overlay a generic rain effect, they respected the depth and lighting of my photo, creating a sense of atmosphere that was beautiful without being distracting. I tapped to set it as my alarm background. The next morning, when my alarm sounded, I wasn't greeted by a static, boring lock screen. I was greeted by a live, contextual preview of the world outside. It was a small moment of awareness, a gentle nudge toward the day ahead, and it replaced the groggy blind reach for a separate weather app. It felt less like using a phone and more like having a companion that understood my environment. But the real magic happened when I opened Samsung Notes. For years, I've used it for everything from grocery lists to meeting notes to creative brainstorming, but it always felt like a simple notepad. One UI 8.5 changed that. The first thing I understood was the new note creation experience. Instead of every note looking the same, I could long press the new note button and choose from different paper styles. Blank canvas for sketching, lined paper for school notes, dot grid for design work, planner templates for weekly scheduling, journal layouts for daily reflections, even recipe templates for meal planning. It sounds small, but it transforms the app from a generic text editor into a personalized creative workspace. And then there are the note covers. I could add patterns, illustrations, custom text, even stickers to the cover of each note. When you have dozens of notes saved, this isn't just decorative. It's organizational. I could glance at my home screen in Samsung Notes and instantly find my work project because of its blue geometric cover, or my travel planning notes because of the map illustration. It's a small touch that makes the entire experience feel more intentional, more human. The feature that genuinely changed my workflow, though, was PDF import. My boss emailed me a contract to review. In the past, I'd have to open it in a separate PDF app, annotate it there, then save and export it back. Now I long pressed the new Note button in Samsung Notes, tapped Import PDF, selected the file, and instantly, the document was inside my Notes app, ready for annotation. I highlighted key clauses, added handwritten comments with the S Pen, sketched a flowchart to clarify a complex section, and even signed the document digitally. When I was done, I tapped the three-dot menu, selected Save as PDF, and exported the annotated version. All of this happened in one app, without switching contexts, without losing my train of thought. For students, this is revolutionary. Imagine importing lecture slides, annotating them during class, adding your own diagrams, and exporting a polished study guide, all without leaving Samsung Notes. It's not just a note-taking app anymore, it's a productivity suite. Toddles were another long-awaited addition. I use Samsung Notes for meal planning, and in the past aligning days, meals, and ingredients was a tedious exercise in manual spacing. Now, I tap the plus icon, select Table, choose my rows and columns, and instantly have a clean, structured grid. I can customize the table style, rounded corners, straight lines, header highlighting, and adjust text formatting, colors, and alignment. My meal plan went from a messy list to a professional-looking planner in seconds. The same applies to budget tracking, project timelines, study schedules, content calendars. Tables turned Samsung Notes from a free-form canvas into a structured workspace without sacrificing the flexibility that makes it powerful. For creative work, the new opacity controls for the pen and highlighter tools are a game-changer. I sketch concepts for videos, and in the past my highlights were either too dark and obscured the text, or too light and didn't stand out. Now I can adjust the transparency level, choosing between fixed opacity for bold emphasis or variable opacity for subtle shading. I can switch between solid lines, dashes, or dots, giving my sketches a more professional, layered look. It's a small quality of life upgrade, but one that makes the creative process feel more intentional, more controlled. And then there's Creative Studio, built right into Samsung Notes. I was brainstorming ideas for a new video thumbnail, and instead of jumping between apps, I tapped the Galaxy AI button, selected Creative Studio, and described what I wanted. A minimalist lit logo for a tech review channel with clean lines and a modern feel. Within seconds, the AI generated several options. I could choose from different styles: pop art, watercolor, sketch, 3D cartoon, and refine the prompt until it matched my vision. I could even draw a rough sketch and have the AI transform it into a polished illustration. It's not about replacing human creativity, it's about augmenting it. Font, a spark, a way to overcome the blank page. And because it runs on device, your ideas stay private, untracked, entirely yours. One of the most quietly brilliant features I discovered is the tape tool for studying. I was helping my niece prepare for a history exam, and we used Samsung Notes to write questions and answers. Then, we activated the tape feature. You need to be in S Pen mode and swipe from the top to access it, and covered the answers with a digital strip of tape. She could test herself by lifting the tape to reveal the answer, then covering it again. We could customize the tape's color, thickness, and even make it transparent for a subtle hint. It's not just a gimmick, it's a powerful study tool that turns passive review into active recall. and it's built right into the app where your notes already live. For language learners, memorizing formulas or reviewing vocabulary, this is transformative. But the intelligence of One UI 8.5 isn't confined to Samsung Notes. It's woven throughout the entire experience. The new call screening feature, for example, has already saved me from several spam calls. When an unknown number rings, I can let the AI answer on my behalf. It asks the caller who they are and why they're calling, transcribes their response in real time, and lets me decide whether to pick up or dismiss. I can even jump in at any moment if I recognize the voice. It's not about avoiding human connection, it's about protecting my time and attention from the endless barrage of robocalls and scams. And because it runs on device, my sensations stay private. Audio Eraser, which previously only cleaned up my own recordings, now works on media playing within supported apps like YouTube, Spotify, and podcast players. I was watching a football highlight video, and the crowd noise was overwhelming the commentary. I swiped down to open quick settings, tapped Audio Eraser, and toggled it on. Instantly, the background noise faded, and the commentator's voice came through crystal clear. It works on live broadcasts too, for anyone who consumes media in noisy environments. Commuters, parents, travelers, this is a lifeline, and again, it all happens on device, with no audio uploaded, no data stored. The Gallery app has also received meaningful AI upgrades. When I edit a photo, I can now tap the AI button and describe what I want to change in natural language. Make the sky more dramatic, remove the person in the background, warm up the skin tones. The system applies the adjustment contextually, preserving the original mood, instead of slapping on a generic filter. I can even blend images, merging objects from one photo into another, and the AI smartly handles the lighting, perspective, and edges. It's not about creating fake images. It's about enhancing real ones, giving you the tools to realize your vision without needing professional editing skills. And every edit is non-destructive, with a full changelog so you can step backward through your creative process without losing your starting point. Privacy features have also matured. The new private album in Gallery lets me move sensitive photos, passport scans, medical records, personal moments into a hidden, biometric locked space. They vanish from my main feed, search results, and cloud sync, but remain accessible when I need them. It's not a separate app or a complicated workflow. It's a simple, secure option built right into the Gallery I already use, and because it's encrypted locally, my private moments stay private. Of course, no major update arrives without friction and the reality of living inside. One UI 8.5 includes the expected growing pains. Some users experience notification delays for specific messaging applications until they manually adjust background optimization settings. A minor visual flicker appears occasionally with glass morphism blur effects on older displays, a driver-level quirk that patches resolve within weeks. The initial cross-device clipboard and quick share setup requires multiple devices to share the same network before the first successful sync, a handshake process that needs refinement. Third-party applications that heavily customize the system interface or rely on legacy accessibility services occasionally stumble during the transition, requiring developer updates to align with new APIs. But these aren't systemic failures. They're the natural friction of evolution, and what separates this era from previous ones isn't the absence of bugs. It's the maturity of the response cycle. Patch notes are detailed, not vague. Update rollouts are staggered responsibly, not dumped globally on unpredictable schedules. Community feedback is actively incorporated into stable builds. You don't feel like an afterthought. You feel like a participant in a continuous improvement loop. And that changes everything, because software isn't a product you buy and forget, it's a living system that evolves with you. One UI 8.5 understands that. It doesn't pretend to be perfect on day one. It commits to getting better over time. I also need to mention an important precaution, the green line display issue. During major software updates, the chipset works at full potential, generating significant heat. If your phone is already in a hot or humid environment, this heat can potentially damage the display's flex cable, leading to a permanent green or pink line. To avoid this, ensure your phone is fully charged but cooled down before updating. Don't plug it in during the installation, and if possible, update in a cool, air-conditioned space. It's a small step that can prevent a costly repair. It's also worth noting that not all features are coming to all devices. The 24MP camera mode, horizontal lock for video, now nudge contextual suggestions, and priority notification summaries are currently reserved for the Galaxy S26 series. This isn't about withholding features. It's about hardware limitations and strategic rollout. Samsung has confirmed that One UI 8.5 will expand to older flagships like the S24, S23, and Z Fold Flip series in the coming months, bringing the core refinements, smoother animations, smarter battery management, enhanced privacy controls, and the redesigned quick settings to a wider audience. The commitment to long-term support isn't just a marketing line. It's a promise that your device will stay relevant, secure, and capable for years to come. But beyond the features, the patches, and the performance metrics, what's truly shifted is the psychological relationship between user and device. Digital fatigue isn't caused by screens, it's caused by context switching, by fake urgency, by interfaces that treat your attention as a commodity to be mined. One UI 8.5 systematically removes that friction. I spend less time hunting for files, less time silencing phantom alerts, less time wondering why my battery is dead by mid-afternoon, less time configuring settings, less time feeling watched. I spend more time actually living. My screen time has dropped, not because I installed a digital well-being app or set aggressive limits, but because the phone no longer demands my engagement. It offers it, quietly, contextually, and only when it's actually useful. When I'm reading a long article, it doesn't push notifications. When I'm in a meeting, it doesn't vibrate with low-priority updates. When I'm offline, it doesn't waste battery trying to sync with unreachable servers. It just waits, and in that waiting, there's a profound kind of respect. It's not trying to monetize my attention. It's trying to protect it, and that's a radical act in an industry built on extraction. So if you're holding your Galaxy device right now, feeling that quiet shift in your daily routine, that subtle recalibration of how you move through the world, know this: you're not just using an operating system. You're living inside a philosophy, one that believes your time is sacred, your privacy is non-negotiable, your attention is yours alone, and sometimes the most revolutionary thing a device can do is simply let you be. It doesn't shout about intelligence. It demonstrates it through restraint. It doesn't track you to help you. It helps by respecting you. It doesn't sell your moments. It protects them. And in a world that profits from your endless scrolling, that quiet confidence isn't just refreshing, it's necessary. Thanks for walking through this journey with me. If this resonated with you, if you felt that same quiet shift in your own daily routine, please hit subscribe and tap the bell. We'll be here, tracking the long-term evolution of One UI 8.5, testing battery endurance over months, comparing camera consistency across updates, exploring how the ecosystem sync holds up as more devices join the fold, and sharing honest-grounded insights that help you make the most of your technology without the hype. We're not here for headlines. We're here for humanity. For the real-world experiences that remind us why we fell in love with tech in the first place. Until next time, may your updates be smooth, your bugs be temporary, your battery be predictable, and your digital life feel a little lighter, a little calmer, and entirely your own. Take care, friends.